thoughts about PowerPoint. I'm sure you have had very many and big people who have decided that PowerPoint is not a good thing and they would prefer anybody not to use it. Especially people in the tech industry, where people are supposed to be thinking creatively, thinking outside the box, but the moment you bring a presentation on PowerPoint, they seem to just circle their mind around what you have presented there. So PowerPoint can be a good thing and a bad thing. It is meant to enhance your speech. It is not supposed to replace your speech. So you have to be very careful in how you put your slides for them not to take away your power, or them not to be able to replace you and then become everything that everybody is focusing on. So some major mistakes that people make on PowerPoint: one is putting too much content, too much text for that purpose. Because the moment you do that, you know what happens? Audience shift their attention from you and they start focusing on your slides. And people have peculiar habits. The moment you put text on that slide, they want to read each and every word of it. This happens even in school if you're a teacher. The more you put on that slide, the more they want to read and the more they want to write. So what that means is you have taken away your power. They did not need you. They've just needed those slides and that text for them to get the information. So don't make the mistake of making a PowerPoint or the slides replace you. Use them to empower your speech. Use them to enhance whatever content you want to deliver, but do not let it replace you. So avoid too much text. Another mistake that people make is using some kind of font that cannot be read, or some sort of pictures that do not seem to reflect anything. So whatever you put on your slides, make sure it's very visible. Always have in mind, like we said from the beginning, how huge is your audience? How are they seated? What's the sitting position? Are they able to see everything that you have put there from where they are seated? And again, the reason you need to get there early and check out through that. So don't use slides that are going to make you a failure when you're actually a very good speaker. When you had totally presented and prepared very well, then you make those slides bring you down. Use slides, use PowerPoint to your advantage, and make use of a few things. Like we've said, less text, more image, because an image can enhance what you're saying. So you're talking about a certain item, then you can have an image of it so that people can be able to relate that image to what you're talking about. It does not take away what you're talking about. It does not take away their attention. It just enhances what you're talking about. So less text and have more of images. Then something else that you could make use of, avoid having too much in one slide. So if you could have one idea per slide, the better. That way people can stay focused, so that when you have that one idea on that slide, you can talk about it, then flip on to the next. If you have too many ideas on one slide, again, people continue just checking what's next, what's next, what is next. So you're losing their attention. So make sure that whatever it is on those slides, it is the one idea that you want to get them. Project that one thing that you want them to get. Could be using a color or using a certain font. Just have one thing that totally stands out that you want them to get in every slide that you're going to pop up. Don't let slides replace you. Remember, just use them for your own advantage. Again, as you use slides, as you make your presentation, something else that is very important: how do you engage the people? If you're going to talk for 1 hour, chances are there are people who are going to get bored, there are people who are going to likely to walk out, there are people who are going to really get distracted depending on how long you're going to talk. So you have to make sure that you find a way of making sure that people are with you. Your eye contact is key, because when you look at people, you can tell, are they following? Are they still interested? Are they happy? Are they having difficulty catching up with me? Because you might not be able to ask them all those questions depending on how huge the crowd is. So one thing is that you have to use your eye contact and your imagination to be able to tell whether people are still with you. So when you look at them, you need to know, do I need to change something? Do I need to engage them more? Can I ask a rhetoric question, for example? Can I just walk into the people? Again, another mistake you could make is just stand in front of people like a statue as you read, like you're reading the president's speech, and expect people to follow you for 2 hours. It's not going to work. So have the freedom to make use of your body language. Take a walk into the crowd if it is a big crowd. But the moment you move, chances are people move with their eyes with you. As they move with you, then you get to engage them again. Because engagement is not physical. Engagement is mental. It is how you keep them engaged with you. It's how you keep them with you mentally. So the moment you make a few moves, if you make a certain demonstration, if you make a certain body movement, they are likely to keep up with you. So keep your audience as engaged as you can. Use all kind of tricks that you can. Your own body language, a smile, taking a walk into the crowd. It helps to keep the audience engaged. If it's something you're talking about that you can use a demonstration, why not do it? Why not make them repeat whatever it is that you have done? As they do that, you keep them engaged. Ask a rhetoric question. The moment you throw a question into people and pause for a minute, they take a moment to think about it. If they are not following, they're likely to ask the other person, what was the question? Or you just give them a moment to retrace back into their thoughts. And that means mental engagement. And that is all that you're looking at. So try as much as possible not to look like a zombie in front of people. Keep the people engaged. Make sure they are with you from the beginning to the end. So how you structure your speech from the beginning of introduction, how you deliver your points, the stories you put in, the questions you put in, the humor, the body language, the movement, the demonstration, all that is going to determine whether the people are going to stay with you or not. And how you conclude it with a bang also totally counts. Something that can actually catch you off guard as you finish: questions. Because you're in a forum where questions are asked, or sometimes they are not even allowed to be asked, but there are people who will always want to ask something. So as you prepare, as you rehearse, always have that at the back of your mind. What kind of questions are likely to come up from all this? You might not be able to preempt all of them, but think through it. Have a few answers in your head based on the kind of people I'm having, in their profession, in their challenges. What are they likely to ask? So always have that at the back of your mind. If they ask this kind of a question, how will I respond to it? So prepare as much as possible. But again, regardless of how much you prepare, you are not Google. There are things you are likely not to know about. So be genuine, be positive, be open about it. If there's something you're not sure about, just confidently say you're not sure about, or it wasn't your focus for that presentation, or it is something you could get back to people. Another thing you could use, if you're in a panel of other speakers, you could always throw it back to those speakers, or even throw it back to the audience. Information and knowledge lies with people. So don't feel like it has to come from you. Throw it back to them. Let somebody else be able to share their experiences, be able to give their thoughts about it. You'll be amazed at how much information you can get from other people if you're open to it. So don't feel pressured to answer each and every question that comes. When you can answer it. Where you can't throw it back, if you can't throw it back, always say that you can be able to handle it at another time. What about where you have people who are very negative? Because maybe you're making a presentation from your organization and there are people, clients, or just stakeholders who the company has really offended, and they're going to throw questions that are so negative, you want to either go under the table or just throw the words back at them. The worst thing you can do is to throw words back at people. Never do that. The other worst thing you can do is try and defend your organization or defend yourself as being the righteous one and the mistake was made by somebody else. If you're representing an organization, then it is up to you to be able to respond to that question with the most genuine information that you have. If it is not something that you can handle at that point, then let the person know that you can have to talk about that issue offline, or that you're going to look up to it and respond to that person. If they are really offended, always good to apologize. Whether it is your mistake or not, apologize and look for the best way possible to be able to solve that issue. And something again very important, remember to address people by their names. You're in a forum where people have names, or you know them, or in media where people will always say their names. People love their names. So as they ask you the tough questions, as you respond back, you could always say, I hear you, John, this is what you had to say, and let me tell you this, John. The moment you mention somebody's name, chances are they are likely to feel honored, and they are likely to feel proud that you could actually recognize them as human beings, and they actually feel like they can even get in touch with you later. They don't have to give you the pressure now, so it eases that pressure off you. So always look for tactics and ways of surviving questions in the most and the best way possible. So remember all that we have covered in our modules, from the beginning of you knowing that public speaking is an art that you can learn. The second thing that you learned is that you have to structure it in a certain way, because it is formal, it is structured, it is delivered in a certain mood, not just talking. And that storytelling is a very powerful thing in public speaking that you could use to your advantage, and that you should never let slides replace you. But again, very important, you have to keep your audience engaged and you have to prepare for their questions. All the best as you enhance your skills in public speaking and presentation. Thank you.